Hey guys, preparing for a competitive examination? Tell me one thing, is your affinity towards a subject directly proportional to a chapter that you are good at? Well then, I'm sure you are aware that your rank in that competitive exam is also directly proportional to the number of chapters that you are good at. And you want maximum number of chapters to be in the good zone. Yes or no? Well, how do you achieve that? At Vedantu, we all master teachers have created a special and a very unique course just for you. We call it the micro courses. Well, now you can study any subject, any chapter at your pace in a super fun and in a super interactive way. So, what are you waiting for? Just follow this link and enroll for any micro course that you want. Not just that, there are over 2,500 plus micro courses for your access, that too at a super affordable price. I'll see you in the session. Hey guys, welcome back to Vedantu's JEE channel, and I welcome you all to the trick number 2 of our series that we call as Shortcut for JEE and NEET in Physics. I'm sure that you guys have seen the previous video which was containing trick number 1, and yes, that is a very important trick, so go and watch that video as well if you have not done so. Okay, let's go forward. For all of you who haven't seen me before, who are here for the first time, this is me, your Suri sir, and I'm also known as Mogambo, because whenever you solve any question correctly, or in future when you will crack the examination of JEE or NEET, Mogambo khush hoga. Okay guys, and yes, that's my Instagram handle. If you want to follow me, you can, but do not expect any short tricks over there. Okay, chalo, let's go forward guys. आज का पहला question देखते हैं. So the question says that find the distance covered in the first 4 seconds by a body which is moving on a straight line. Okay, the equation of its velocity variation is also given as -8 plus 4t. So what do you take out of it? I'm sure you are able to figure out that the question is from uniformly accelerated motion. Yes, if you will try to compare it, this is basically u plus at. Yes or no? So what I'm going to do, मैं क्या करने वाला हूँ, मैं सबसे पहले आपको बताऊंगा कि इस क्वेश्चन को हम विदाउट एनी शॉर्ट ट्रिक कैसे अप्लाई करेंगे. Okay, means what is the usual approach that students will take for this question. As you can see, if I compare the values, then the initial velocity is -8, acceleration is 4, and if you want to find out anything related to distance or displacement, you will go by the equation which says that S is equal to ut plus half at square. Okay, सबसे पहले मैं बताता हूँ कि यहाँ पे when you try to apply this, there are high chances that you will end up making mistake in the very first attempt itself. How? If you put the value of u as -8, how much time? 4 plus half, the acceleration value is given to you as 4, yeah, and how much time again? 4 and its square, ut plus half at square. ये apply कर रहे हैं हम लोग, right? So this is 4 8s are 32. That means this will be written as -32 because of the initial velocity being negative. And if you will simplify this, this is 4 4s are 16 multiplied by 2 makes it 32. And what does it tell you? You get S as 0. And let me tell you guys, in exams like JEE and NEET, you will definitely have an option as 0. And very happily, whenever whatever we are getting as our answer is there in the options, without even giving it a second thought, we'll just mark it. But if you are using your smartness well, you will know that the body will not have 0 distance. So what is this S is equal to 0? As you should know that all the kinematical equations that you use, be it this equation or be it this or be it v square equal to u square plus 2as, they are all valid for vectors. They are not applied for scalar quantities. Which means what guys? What you have found here is nothing but displacement. It's not distance. Which means what? The body in 4 seconds must have started moving, reached a point, taken a turn, came back to the same point. That's why its displacement became 0. But does that mean that the body's distance is also 0? I'm sure when you think about it, you know it is not. So guys, how you are supposed to approach this question instead of solving it by the approach that we were trying to apply. Because when we were trying to apply the equation of S is equal to ut plus half at square, what we were getting was the displacement. In order to find out the distance, the process will become very lengthy. I'm not getting into the actual way of solving that question, is because whenever you are solving a question, or whenever a question comes in the examination which involves distance calculation, I want to tell you that you have to be extra careful, or rather your overall senses should become extra alert the moment you read that you have to find out distance in a question. In such cases, what I'm going to tell you, you're supposed to do, or let me tell you, it's basically more than a trick, a concept. I'm sure that you are aware about the fact that whenever we draw a graph between velocity and time, whatever the graph is, if you try to find out the area bounded by that graph, this area gives you the displacement that is covered by the body. Yes or no? I'm sure you're aware about that. And the slope of the graph gives you the acceleration. I'm sure these basics are covered well wherever you are studying, in your school, in your classes. Those things have been covered. But now we want to find out the value of displacement, and let me tell you, the graphs will be the tricks for us. Usually we are scared of graphs. In fact, I want to tell me in the comment box that are you scared of graphs in general, especially when they are applied in physics, when they are used in physics. Okay, so if you are one of those persons who finds usage of graphs, applications of graph relatively challenging, and you are not so comfortable about it, let me just take one of those points out of the bracket, and let me tell you that whenever a question which is going to come from calculation of distance, the graphs will be the easiest thing to use and find out the answer of the question within a minute at least. Okay, so guys, I want to solve this question, and I want to tell you that how we are going to solve it by using the graph. Remember, only the single point that I'm telling you, that the velocity and time graph, if you try to find out the area bounded by that graph, that will give you displacement, not distance, displacement. Okay, apart from that, as you can see, if I use this equation, I can also rearrange this equation to write it as 4t minus 8, which means what? It's a straight line equation. So that's why if I put the value of t as 0, the value of velocity will come out to be minus 8. If you put t equal to 2, which is this coordinate, the velocity becomes 0, because 2 4s are 8, 8 minus 8 is again 0. And if you put t equal to 4, which is ultimately where you want to land to, so if you put t equal to 4 there, guys, 16 minus 8 again gives you velocity as 8. Okay, so the other thing that you should know when you are using the graphs and trying to find out the area is that area above x-axis is basically positive area, and area below x-axis is negative area. I'm sure you are also aware about that, but if you're not, keep this in mind. Okay, so now what? When we are going to find out the distance, we are basically going to calculate the value of displacement, and we are going to just consider the positive value of that displacement. So as you can see it by the graph only, for the first 2 seconds, the graph that you get is a triangle, and from 2 to 4 seconds, the another 2 seconds that you see is another triangle. Just by looking at it, you can find out that the net displacement is going to be 0, because the area of this triangle and area of the other triangle is going to add to give you positive area equal to minus of that same, this is the negative area, that's the positive area. If you'll add them, you'll get the value as 0. You are aware about that, right? But then you know that the distance of the body is not going to be 0, because the body has moved, its velocity has changed, right? So let's calculate the value of this area. This is area 1, let's call it area 2, and we know that this area is actually negative, but we are not going to put that negative sign. Instead, we are going to just call it the distance. Okay, so that distance value is going to be what? Just the area of triangle, that is half base into height. As I said, we are not going to write it as negative, because we know that we are just going to add the total areas here. Similarly, half, that is base. You actually don't need to write this, because you can just make it 2, and because these are equal areas, this is also 8. So what you see here, guys, 8 plus 8, that is 16 meters. Okay, so guys, that's actually the distance that is covered by the body. In this case, what we were getting earlier, we were getting the value of displacement as 0, while the distance that is covered by the body, which we have calculated as the area bounded by velocity time graph, does not come out to be 0. Now, because I'm explaining it to you, maybe that is why you might be feeling that it is still taking a lot of time. But trust me guys, if I will be solving this question, I'll not be actually writing these many steps as well. I'll just calculate the area here itself just add it. Especially in an MCQ based examination, you will just be able to tick the correct answer within 30 seconds very easily. Okay. On the other hand, if you will go and approach this question by using the kinematics equations, you know that how much time you're going to take. In fact, try that once and then you will be thanking me later. Okay, guys, I hope that you guys are enjoying this short trick. In fact, you don't need to call it actually a short trick. This is more of a concept, but the concept applied really well. Okay, remember, this is a concept which is applied really well. You don't need to consider it as a trick, but if you're using it properly, it is not less than a trick. Okay guys, I hope you guys are enjoying the video so far. Tell me one thing guys, just like these, there might be many such chapters which you might be good at. But then sometimes in a subject we are not very good at a particular chapter. If that is the case with you, be it physics, chemistry, maths or biology, you don't have to worry about it anymore. At Vedantu, we have something very unique and special for you, which we call as the micro courses. What is so special about micro course is that you can study any subject, that to any chapter at your speed, at your convenience, and that too, the only barrier which we usually face has also been taken care of. All the micro courses, they are as reasonable as 11 rupees. Okay, you will find courses which are very reasonable. If not, then also we have something to take care of that. All you have to do is go on this link, use this coupon code. Any micro course that you come across, you will get it for a price with a 95% discount on each of the courses. So if there is any subject, any chapter that you're not very good at and you want to master that chapter, you know the solution. Okay guys, apart from that, say you want to study all the chapters from a given subject. Means what? Say you are a guy who is not very good at physics or not very good at chemistry and you want to revise that subject altogether before you are going for appearing any of the entrance examination or maybe your board examinations as well. So for you also we have something which we call as our crash course. All you have to do is go on this link. When you are clicking on buy now, don't forget to use this coupon, that is SMCC. You will get a huge benefit fees wise, because the course which is actually worth rupees 20,000 will come to you for a price which is less than half. Okay, so be it micro course, be it the crash course, whichever is your requirement, do not forget to take the advantage of these awesome courses. Okay guys, let's carry on. We just now learned the importance of graph as a short trick itself. So based upon the same, let me show you another question which might take a lot of time to solve that question, but with the help of the graph itself, we will answer this question within seconds. I guarantee you, the question which is there in front of you on the screen, you will be answering this question within 10 seconds just by looking at the graph. Okay, so what does the question say? Let's read it. Question says that two persons start from rest and run for same time. So there are two guys starting from the same point and going to run for the same amount of time. Okay, now what does it say? That person 1 will run for first half of the time with an acceleration a. Okay, and for the next half time he is going to use the acceleration as 2a. So they are going to run for the same time. You can consider it to be 2 hours. So for first 1 hour, guy number 1 has his acceleration as a, and then for the next 1 hour the acceleration is 2a. On the other hand, the second guy will have his acceleration as 2a for the first 1 hour or half of the time, and then for the next half time his acceleration will become a. Okay, so the question is very simple. Question is asking you to calculate which of these guys will cover more distance. Okay, as I said, if there is a word used distance, be extra careful. In this question, though, there is no possibility of changing the direction unless it has been mentioned or the equation has also not been given. So assuming that the guys are moving in the same line or parallelly they are moving, they're not even changing the direction, and we want to find out the value of the distance, individual distance which is covered by them. Okay, so when we are going to solve this, you will come to the fact that if you are going to apply all the equations, s is equal to ut plus half at square, you'll have to apply that twice, and you will need to find out the value of the velocity after the first half also. So if you try to do that for, say, first person, I'm just going to give you the demonstration that how we are going to try that. Okay, so I'm going to just give you the demonstration of the possible approach that you will take if you are using the kinematical equations. So if you consider that this is the path which is followed by a guy, and this is the timeline that I'm drawing, not the distance line. Okay, so the first guy, say, takes s1 and s2 amount of distance to be covered, which is equal to the displacement in this case. So he starts with a velocity that is 0. Okay, at this point, say his velocity becomes v dash, and or let's call it the velocity as v, and whatever velocity it becomes after a time t is something that we don't know. So this is t equal to 0, this is t equal to, say, t by 2, and this is t equal to t. So what you will do, you will say that the first person has first half acceleration as a, second half acceleration as 2a. So you will first apply s1 calculated as ut plus half at square. You will also need to find out this velocity so that you can again apply the same thing for s2. Okay, because then you will apply ut plus half at square, keeping this as a, this as v. Got the method, right? Same thing will be done for the other guy by keeping this acceleration as 2a, that acceleration as a. 2 times you'll have to apply s is equal to ut plus half at square, and you will also need to use the equation v equal to u plus at. Okay, so now let me tell you how you can skip this. Okay, so what I'm going to show you now is basically the graph between velocity and time for both the people on the same graph. Okay, so velocity time graph, I hope you remember, the area that is bounded by velocity time graph is nothing but the displacement, and here in this question, distance and displacement are same. Okay, so let's have a look at this graph. So this is the graph, guys. The blue graph that you see is the person 1, and person 2 is red graph. You can do this calculation that their final velocities after time t will be same. Okay, yes, their final velocities will be same. Now what is happening here, you know that velocity time graph, the area is displacement and the slope of the graph is acceleration. So what you see here, this is acceleration a, okay, and this is acceleration 2a. Over here, this is acceleration 2a, and this is acceleration a. Okay, just by looking at the graph, can you take a hint that which of these guys is going to cover more distance? Write that in the comment box. Yes, quite visibly, it's person number 2 who will cover more distance. Why? If you try to find out the area that is bounded by the velocity time graph for first person, you see that this triangle and this trapezium is the area which will be equal to the distance that is covered by the first person, right? The area under the blue curve. On the other hand, if you will try to find out the displacement that is covered by person number 2, whose graph is represented by this red curve, so in that case, you will be covering this area that is additional. Apart from that, obviously, this area is also bounded. So clearly, this parallelogram that you see is the additional distance which is covered by the person number 2. Okay, means what? If you will try to find out the area of this bigger triangle and this bigger trapezium, will give you the value of the distance that is covered by the person number 2. Okay guys, see, I didn't even have to do any calculation. Just by drawing the graph, we could tell that person number 2 is going to cover more displacement. How did you like the trick? Tell me that in the comment box. I'm sure that you guys must have enjoyed this trick. Okay, if you have, then yes, I want you people to just like the video, hit that like button over there. If you have not subscribed to the channel, then just do that. And if you guys are having fun with me, then tell your friends as well, share this video with them. Okay guys, and I'll be back with more such interesting short tricks and the methods to make your life easier in solving questions in a subject like physics. So guys, take care. Bye bye.